looking at the Quilter Superblock US this week on Learning Curve. I am Spencer Thomas. Thank you for watching Learning Curve. This week we're looking at the Quilter Superblock US. Now, as you may or may not know, there are some rather massive world events happening that have a lot of impact on a lot of things, and those things are very important. And one of the things they're impacting that isn't that important, except to me and possibly you personally, is that the price of tubes for guitar amps have gone up considerably. And this isn't only impacting like people with stacks of Marshalls and with vintage Tweeds and with, with the Vox AC30s. If you own a Joyo Bant amp, or my personal favorite, the Orange Terror Stamp, those all have 12AX7 tubes in them in the preamp. And, let me put it this way. The last time I bought a 12AX7, it was $16. I checked it before I was recording this, which is in May of 2022, and it was $25. So I don't think they're going to be going down in price. The reason I'm saying all of this is to say that maybe it's time to get serious about a solid state amp. I like pedal board amps because they're compact, they're easy to move, they're easy to set up. I can usually carry my whole rig in one trip by myself. So that's my motivation. I live in the upper Midwest. I live right next to Canada. It gets really cold here, and cold is not great for tubes. So if you get to the gig and you don't want to spend an hour letting everything get to room temperature, it seems like solid state might be the route. Like I said, I decided to go with the Quilter Superblock US. Quilter is a Canadian company. This is a 25-watt amp that fits really nicely on the pedal board. It's got very nice features. It's got a 3-band EQ. It's got a limiter. The connectivity is really a big selling point for me. You've got an XLR out, which means you can plug it directly into the board or into your computer or into your PA, while simultaneously running a cabinet. I have I'm just running it through a 1x12, but it's an amp. So you don't need to run the pedal to an amp. It is the amp. You can run a cabinet directly out of the pedal, which is great. It's also got a headphone jack. Now the XLR and the headphone jack both have cab sims in them. You've got 3 choices with the cab sims. You've got FR, which is for an external cab sim. If you want to run this into something else that has cab sims, I don't use that kind of stuff, so we're not going to talk about that anymore. I use the normal cab sim, which is emulating a 12-inch guitar speaker. I think it sounds perfectly fine. It's also got a bright. Now, some of the amps, you've got 3 voices of amps, and some of them are kind of older, and you might want that the sound you got out of a tiny. Out of a smaller speaker, the smaller, brighter sound that you would get out of a smaller speaker. So you have the bright switch if that's something you're interested in. Another really cool feature on this is it's got 2 power inputs. So you can run it at full power off the power supply that Quilter supplies you, or you can run it out of a 9-volt, 300 milliamp outlet from the power supply on your pedal board. Now, if you do that, it's only going to be 1 watt of power. I've used it in my bedroom under that setting. It's still really loud. So that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm just going to run you through some of the real basic sounds of this first off. This is everything at noon. I'm playing through a Seymour Duncan noiseless middle pickup. So let's start off with the reverb. That is very dry. Bring that down to a more manageable level. You have a 3-band EQ. I've been playing with a lot of amps that just have a 1-band EQ, so now I have to relearn how to use an EQ. I'll just go through this real quickly. You know what an EQ does, but here it is, everything at noon. Scoop your mids. Boost your mids. Now the limiter, this is one of the most interesting features on this amp. Ultimately, what the limiter's doing is dictating how much headroom you've got. When you crank it all the way to the left, you have very little headroom, so you get to break up real easily. And then when you have a lot, you have less headroom and you have more sustain. And this, I think the more gain you get, the more you come to understand how this works. You know what gain is. I'm going to crank the gain all the way up so you can really kind of get an idea how the limiter works. Let's hear that gain through some humbuckers. Now the Superblock has 3 voices, and I wasn't sure how to best illustrate whether or not they're doing those voices well. So I decided to find out who used the amps that they're trying to emulate, what songs they were played on, and try and kind of create those sounds. So the 61 is based on a blonde. I believe they're talking about a bassman. I know that bassmen were popular with surf music. I should tell you I don't play surf music. So this is going to sound like surf-ish music that might accidentally also sound right. But right-ish. But anyway, you should be able to tell if you like surf music, you should be able to get your head around if this would be able to do what you want it to do. Here's the clip. Okay, now the 57, they say is the Tweed sound, and I did some homework on it. Turns out there are a lot of Tweeds and a lot of Tweed sounds and a lot of Tweed players. So here are two Tweed sounds. First, I'm going to do kind of a country sound. I looked up the settings that Chet Atkins used on his Tweeds, and I don't want to freak you out, but I am no Chet Atkins. But I did the best I could. Here's some country tones for you. And then a guy from where this amp was made, Canadian Neale Young, also huge fan of the Tweeds. I looked up his settings, tried to get it as close as possible. Let me know what you think. They say the 65 is the black 65, which one can guess they mean a 65 reverb. That amp was used by everybody, including some guys from Liverpool. Again, according to the internet, this is kind of how they dialed their amps in. Let me know what you think. And finally, I'm sure you're curious how this amp plays with others. So I put it on my pedal board and just screwed around a little bit. Hopefully this will give you some of the information you're looking for. Okay, that is the Quilter Superblock. I am really enjoying it, to be honest with you. This was not a paid endorsement. I'd be happy to make a paid endorsement if you would like me to. Let me know what you think. If you have one of these, let me know how it's working out for you. Any other thoughts, questions, or comments, please be civil. Other than that, I just want to thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I'm Spencer Thomas. We'll see you next time.